Welcome back to the Brick Abbey. We are continuing our build of Yoda, the Lego Star Wars set 75255, and we're going to try something a little bit different here. Bags 4 and 5, we're going to do both the opening and the organization in one video. And what I was going to try to do was 4, 5, 6, and 7. It was going to be, I think, way too many pieces. It was a bit of a risk. And I was thinking, oh, I'll do 4, 5, and 6. But then I realized without 7, this could have become a bit of a problem, because it suddenly would have started expected to me have pieces from both bags. So we're going to do bags 4 and 5 to advance here. And I know it tells you, what you're pulling from. But I thought this would make for a good video. We've not done this before, where we unbag and organize in the same video. But we've gotten such positive feedback from our approach to Lego's content that we thought, at least I thought, what we would do is unbag and organize in one video. And should be hearing our table mic with a bag within a bag here. There we go. This might actually, interweave more of the organizing into our series as we do them. And people have seemed to really enjoy the organization. So I'm going to put the black up here, because I can already tell we're not going to have very much of it. So that way we can have it all in one place, and then we can bring the brown over to the others. If you're familiar with the content, I've told the story many times about why I do this. I never really did Lego sets this way. And I started building a set for my son, and my wife's like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Organize them first." So I tried it and liked it so much that now, even when I'm not recording a video, it's just how I have to do it. And I do think it makes it much more enjoyable. I had somebody leave a picture in our Discord. We don't have a Discord for the Brick Abbey, but my gaming content, we have a Discord. A guy left a picture, and he said, he was going to try to do the organization method. And I feel like he left feedback saying he really liked doing it that way. So we're also going to go ahead and just put the yellow over here. Similar situation. Not a lot of yellow or red. Here we go. Get these up here where we want them. Always interesting when there's a clear color scheme and then you have these breaks from the color scheme. There we go. Okay, so that'll be just sort of ground zero for the non-tan for Yoda's robes. There we go. It's all about the first piece. I usually don't obsess too much about getting them super straight, but I have thought if I take a little bit of extra time with just the first piece placement, and then you orient everything from that piece, maybe we could own our brand a little bit and be a little bit more, what'd they call that when I worked at the store? Laser line. I worked at Best Buy, and they would come to the aisles where all of the accessories were, and they would want everything laser lined. And I'll be honest, I never realized why I liked that sort of thing, but that was something that I didn't mind doing. There was something satisfying, you know, going down the aisle, and it's just a mess from the day, you know. People have bumped into stuff, or customers have looked at something and put it back and it's crooked now, or it's on the wrong, you know, spoke or whatever. And I always loved going through an aisle and getting everything just right and laser lining it all. Now, I also didn't have to vacuum if I was doing laser lining, so maybe maybe I'm giving myself away a little bit. Maybe that had more to do with it. But I don't know. It's kind of like these videos, these organization videos. We typically name these organization, and then we have like part 1, part 2 of this. This one's probably just going to have, you know, this will be just in the series as one of the parts, like one of the building. I'm just putting these down here to separate them, so I can see them. That way, we can kind of get all of our pieces there with the tan. There's a lot of space up there in that corner. I wonder if we could put Yoda up there. He won't really be in the frame anymore. Maybe we could bring everything down by 1. That just feels like the right choice to have Yoda over there. He's still slightly out of frame. Let's get his foot in frame. There we go. Let's move one more line. That way, he can be up and out of the way, because we're gonna basically what's gonna happen is we're gonna pull him right down here to the center once we start building, and that will be sort of our build area right here in the middle. And I think for his robe, what you end up doing a lot of the times is you build the pieces first and then you attach them. They end up being kind of big. I don't think we have any more at that length, but what we can do is we have 3x2s that'll be very similar in length that we can double up here, and then we'll just probably just come down from there. These 4s will likely end up over here, I'm assuming. I'm already very glad that we did not try to do too many bags. I was also thinking, we're always considering, at least I'm always considering when I'm planning this, because I've just never made this kind of content, so I don't necessarily know where it's going to end up, how it's going to go. And since I've never done this kind of content before, I was like, well, if we open up 4 whole bags, we're going to have this we're going to have this sea of pieces. And I didn't think that was going to be very good. So I decided to just do the 2. And as I'm organizing the pieces right now, I think that's going to be the right choice. Now, obviously, we're open to feedback. So if somebody's working their way through the series and they got to this video and they're like, oh, you know, I like just the building videos, I don't like the organization. Maybe the organization videos will grow on you. Maybe not. We're always open to that feedback. Obviously, I just kind of do it and then put it out there, and then we sort of see what people say. And I intentionally didn't go look at a bunch of other Lego channels because I just wanted to kind of do my own thing, and I didn't want to focus too heavily on content. Like, I didn't want it to feel like I was trying to make Lego content. So I opted to just sort of start making it and then let let people kind of tell me what they think. Well, isn't that just... Hopefully... I don't like throwing around the term OCD liberally, because, it's something that people actually struggle with and deal with. But this does sort of trigger that sense of, if we would have just had one more, it would have fit right there. And then these guys, the number of rows that we decided to do was just totally random. I didn't have a plan. Like I didn't get a piece count. I don't look at the pieces and get a count. I don't think you can actually. You'd have to go to the back and it would give you a piece count for the entire set. And that wouldn't do us a whole lot of good, because this is individual bags that we're messing with here now. And one thing about the foam board and the static is sometimes one of my hairs from my head end up on the board somehow. That staticky thing, I don't even have long hair anymore, but the static in the wintertime, I feel like your hair is just always kind of doing crazy things. Okay, so it looks like we don't have enough. This guy's just the odd man out. He really is. He's just the odd man out. I'll tell you what we're going to do. There we go. Why don't we do that? Have it taper down, so that way I don't have to be driven crazy. And then we'll bring our little 2x down here, 2x1s or 1x2s. I'm not actually sure what the official classifications are. Again, I'm not like some professional Lego guy. I just like opening the bags, organizing the pieces, talking to you guys, and building the sets. You get to hear about things like me laser lining it when I worked at Best Buy. That kind of an environment is, it's not that working in retail, it's not that the job is bad. It's just that you are just so at the mercy of total strangers. And my wife was saying this she said this to me the other day in the car. She had, she got gifts for the librarians. My children love to read, and that's a very intentional thing that my wife has put a lot of work into. Always taking them to libraries, visiting the different libraries in the city. When they have story time, checking out books. And one thing she really impressed on my kids was getting to know the librarians, thanking them and, asking them for help. And so she likes to get things for the librarians, which I guess there's rules about this. You can't do certain things. You can't exceed some dollar amount or something, or gift cards. It's got to be just an actual item. And even then it can't be too expensive, because I don't know. You ran into that one year. And in any case, she does that for them at Christmas. Gets them a little something and then has the kids give it to them. And she said that, the lady was saying, oh, you don't have to do that. And she was like, well, you guys you're not thanked or recognized enough. What you guys do is important, and my kids love reading, and you guys have helped with that. Think about that. Think about what that trajectory that's going to set in a kid's life to love reading at the age of 7 and 9. Fostering that in a child, that's actually really meaningful. And I don't know, they probably don't get told that often, and they should, because that's a big deal. Think of all the children they've impacted, and they're going to grow up to be dramatically different people, and have very different views of life, or different views of just studying. And she said that the librarian like cried. She got emotional, you know. And my wife said that there's just like this, there's almost like a deficit or just an absence of kindness. She's like, if you're just the most basic level of kindness to people, he's like, they're not even almost like prepared for it. Like they're just not met with much kindness in the world. And when I worked in retail, I definitely felt that. It was always, you're just at the mercy of strangers, you know, and that's just not a fun place to be. I have a lot of respect for, you know, wait staff at restaurants. I always try to well over tip. We don't eat out all that often. So when I do, I figure, okay, I'm treating myself. I'll also treat the person that's waiting on me. Obviously, if they're absolutely terrible, I give them like, I don't know, 20%, you know, and I don't go beyond that. But if they're great, I mean, I really do that for them, just, and it makes me feel good. I'm not acting like it's like a total selfless act. I don't know if there's such a thing, because if it makes you feel good, there's some selfishness interwoven into it. But I like to do that because I remember being in a position where, you know, making a sales quota or having a good shift was at some levels just like hugely dependent on the mood and the kindness or the, you know, sometimes, I mean, it's just the needs of the stranger, right? Oops. They, you know, do they need or want the really expensive thing? Because that's always something that kind of used to drive me crazy about managers. You know, you didn't properly qualify the customer. That's why they didn't buy anything. Well, no. Maybe they just didn't want it. You know, did you ever think of that? This is therapeutic for me to talk through some of these, you know, old corporate America traumas, I guess. Maybe it's therapeutic for you so that you don't cuss out your boss or something. But I do think that my wife was right, because I always remembered the really nice customer, you know, or the person that took care of me, or they would come back and like bring their, you know, relatives or whatever. That always happened to me in the cell phone business. You wouldn't think it in the moment, you wouldn't think it, but taking care of some little old lady comes back around. Not really why you do it though, because there's no guarantee. You know, you do it because it's the right thing to do. And you know, when she said that, my wife said that, I thought about it, because we've just kind of done that, you know, periodically. We like to get to know the people where we become patrons of. There's this restaurant that we were like going to, and I stopped the guy that I could tell was the manager. I asked, you know, are you the owner or the manager? He's like, both. And so I just told him how much we love eating there and how the waitstaff's always so great. And we tried out this other place downtown, and we said, you know, it was way more expensive, and, you know, the food was not nearly as good. You know, we said, this is the place we like to come. And it's just true. You become familiar with the place. You know, you recognize the faces. And we had a pizza place that we loved to go to, and it closed down. We were kind of devastated. It's weird to say that, but our daughter has an egg allergy, and so it was one of the few places we could go and get pizza as a family and just have no fear about cross-contamination or any of that. Families with allergies know the severity and the risk, and just the, you know, kind of the disappointing nature of how you can't go out to eat. It just isn't worth it, you know. And we loved going to it was Mellow Mushroom, and we would always learn the waitstaff's name. We had a couple people that we would ask for, and there was this guy that we loved to get. He was just a good old boy. He was big brick house of a guy. I mean, just a monster, you know. Like, he kind of like, you put him in the right outfit and you throw him in a WWE wrestling ring or something. He was Army. He was an Army veteran. So he had some cool stories to share when he was serving. And the kids loved him. He kind of had that gentle giant way about him. He was real nice, real friendly. We'd always ask for him because it affected, I thought, at least, it affected the evening, You like to have the same person every time. And then you're taking care of a good guy. He's kind, he's talking to my kids and joking with them and making our evening a pleasant one. And sadly, they had management problems, basically. Sounded like they had kind of a it sounded like they had a crummy owner, and they just couldn't keep staff because the crummy owner would hire crummy managers, and crummy managers make for all of your good employees leaving. And I've experienced this firsthand in many, many jobs. So I guess today's lesson in this video, as I ramble and just think out loud, is it genuinely is free to be kind to people, and it can make their day or their shift just so much better. And it didn't really cost you anything. I mean, obviously it costs you something to tip generously, so do that as best you can and as you're able. But that's going to conclude this video. No building in this one. We're going to go ahead and just let this be an organization video. It's close enough to 30 minutes that I'm okay with that. I'm okay with these series kind of having their own life. And we'll organize and unbag, and then we'll build, and then we'll organize, and we'll unbag. And I really hope that that's just kind of a vibe you guys can get down with, that you've come to enjoy here, the videos on the Brick Abbey and how we approach them. And I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you in the next one.